Welcome to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some news stories, shall we? The first story is called, You Want It the Old Way? I used to volunteer with a collegiate religious non-profit that was stuck in the era it was established, which was back in the 1970s. As technology improved, they did the bare minimum to move along with the times. Accounting. There are loads of programs like Quicken and other modern accounting software, but the organization only wanted to do all finance written down in a ledger. Yes, a leather-bound ledger that was catered to one person who was in charge of the finance for the entire organization. This person was in their 60s and refused to change. Someone would eventually transfer the information in the ledger into an Excel document. Contracts and agreements. Anything that needed signatures such as applications, they want the original form, no matter what. Since the organization spans across the United States, if someone was to sign something in New York, the home office in California wants the person to snail mail the page with their signature on it. They wouldn't accept faxes, scans or digital signatures. They kept saying this was for legal reasons, which anyone should figure out was not. Their main reason for all of these outdated rules was because they wanted a paper trail for everything. Every year, our organization hosts a conference in Southern California and it has anywhere between 100 and 120 students attending. Due to recent expansions to more campuses, we were expecting about 300 students. In order to make things less complicated, we wanted to make applications online. They can fill out an online form along with an electric signature. For payments, we wanted to open up online payments as well with a direct transfer. Some students couldn't afford to go, so the organization offered scholarships to pay for the trip for them, but could only give 3 scholarships per campus. This required another application that we also wanted to bring online. All of those suggestions were denied for many reasons. Accounting wanted physical checks. Contracts wanted physical signatures because, as they said, insurance wouldn't accept electronic signatures. And the list of excuses goes on and on, despite so many other organizations and companies using these methods for years and have had zero issues. So in order to make this as painful for them as possible, we started by getting as many people to go to the conference as possible. We ended up getting about 370 students signing up from 20 universities. Normally, we'd collect all of the applications and send them all in at once via a large folder. But instead, we told each student to mail their applications separately and to send their checks separately too, using a security envelope for safety reasons. On top of the main office getting over 700 applications, each they had to open by hand, they also got over 700 checks, and to top the cake, 60 applications for scholarships all in their own envelope. Also, did I mention there were only 3 people processing all of the paperwork? The main office was mad at us, but all we said was that you wanted a paper trail. So now you know where every application came from and finance can process each check individually. The next year, all of our suggestions were accepted by bringing everything online, and guess what? The 3 people who opposed change the most were the most surprised at how much easier everything was now that everything was accessible online. The ledger is now collecting dust. The next story is called, Online Only? This was around the turn of the century when many businesses made their first attempts at providing online services. But not everything in the process was digitized yet. I was a student at university, around 20 years old. I didn't own a car and usually got along quite well without one. A big car rental company, active all over the world, did a huge promotion for a special deal on a new Mercedes model, something like $50 for the whole weekend, Friday at noon till Monday at noon. And they had no restrictions on the age of the driver. So I went to the local office and tried to rent one because I wanted to go see some friends over the weekend, only to be told it was an online-only offer, and anyway, they only had one car available which was scheduled to be picked up by another customer. But I was welcome to book online. So I went all the way back to the dorm, loaded up the website and found out 2 important facts. The online booking site had a huge terms and conditions add-on, where they stated that all bookings for this special deal are binding for both parties. In case of non-availability, they would guarantee a free upgrade within the brand, and the minimum pre-booking time was 2 hours before the pickup. What I also found out, but which wasn't limited to this offer, was the fact that online bookings were possible even when they didn't have the car category available, which usually wasn't a problem because you'd get something similar. So I booked this offer online, went back to the rental office only to be told they didn't know about the booking yet. That's when I found out this particular office still worked the old-fashioned way, by fax. From a mountain of paper, they extracted my booking. And they immediately started arguing that they didn't know about this. They didn't have that model available. but when they called corporate, they were told to honor this booking and its terms. So I got a nice shiny upper-class model for the weekend. Upon returning this nice sports car on Monday, the manager on duty was angry. Apparently, he was allowed to take any non-rented cars for private use. And his favorite was gone for the weekend. And because he insulted me with a rather creative choice of 4-letter words, I decided to follow his company's offers and terms to the letter. From then on, every Friday, I made a short trip to look whether they had that lower class model available, and if they didn't, I booked one for the above terms. I didn't always get a sports car, but any higher Mercedes model is nothing to sneer at. And I used this until the offer expired after half a year. I got lots of cars I wouldn't have been able to rent normally due to the age limitations, and lots of cars I wouldn't have been able to afford to rent. The third story is called, It Can't Be That Important. A few weeks ago, our operations manager went to the head of IT and told him, "You are shipping too much stuff via next day air. Everything needs to go by ground from now on." The head of IT explained that most of the time we are shipping stuff, it needs to get there now and can't wait. But the operations manager stands firm. It can't be that important. So the head said okay, as the operations manager is the son-in-law of the owner. Fast forward to yesterday. The operations manager is in Florida and his computer has crashed. He called and requested a replacement now. I got to inform him that it would be there mid-next week because ground shipping, and according to his ruling, we can't ship anything overnight anymore. Suddenly, all my shipping restrictions were lifted, except I already sent his computer out via ground because it can't be that important. The last story is called, Go to Our Manager. So, I used to work with this guy, let's call him Billy. At first, Billy was an okay guy when he started and was getting trained up. Billy decided that this department wasn't for him and transfers out to a field position. Billy decides 2 months later that he wants to come back, and there is an opening for him. But Billy is no longer an okay guy at this point. Billy became very bad at the job he was doing. He only had about a month's training in the position before he left, and when he came back, he refused any further attempts to train him. He figured that since he was with us for 3 months, that his training period was over, even though 2 of the 3 months were in another department. He was big into making him seem great and lied through his teeth to seem cooler than other people at anything. For example, one of my coworkers was big into one video game. So Billy said he was a professional at it and played in tournaments. So he was asked for his rank and he gave some stupid answer that did not make any sense in that game. This attitude bled into his job, where he pretended he knew what he was doing when he clearly didn't. So we started a good old malicious compliance. Billy screwed up. A customer had an issue that Billy handled while he was the only one here. He did not do it right and inconvenienced the customer for later when the customer called me. Not a huge deal, but caused by a lack of following procedure from good old Billy boy. I fixed it, have proof that it was him, and shoot him an email, reminding him that he needs to make sure to do it properly from now on. His response, via email, "I did it right. Who do you think you are, telling me what to do? If you think I did something wrong, then you need to go to our manager. Don't come to me about it, you are not my boss. I do have every right to point out your mistakes as you are still a trainee. I do have every right to tell you what to do. While you are in training, I am your boss for all intents and purposes. You have been in the department for a total of a month and a half to my 2 years. I know what I'm doing far more than you. If I tell you did something wrong, trust me, you did it wrong. And tell our boss? Great idea. So begins my quest. I don't even have to try hard to find things that Billy is messing up. He is constantly failing to fill out the information in a critical log? Check. Failing to follow procedure and screwing over customers? Check. Failing to do something that we are required by our contract with our client to do? Check. So every day, my manager gets an email about him and all the things I find. After about a week, my manager takes me aside before I leave and asks me why I'm emailing her and not helping to train him by pointing out his mistakes. So I show her Billy's email showing that he is refusing help and inform her that everyone else is getting the same attitude from him. He got written up for unprofessional behavior and one more for failing to follow our procedures. He was told he needed to improve quickly. He did not improve quickly, and before he could be fired, he quit, claiming he had a better job, and we never heard from him again. We don't even have a hard job. Sure, it's a little procedure heavy, but it's a desk job where you answer a few phone calls. He had no college education and had kids to support. This job was about the best he could hope to find in this city. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.